If you feel like you're working harder every year but somehow getting nowhere, I need you to hear this. It's not your work ethic. It's not your salary. It's one invisible mechanism the rich figured out decades ago, and the middle class was never taught. When I was in my 20s, I made good money. 6 figures, nice apartment, the whole picture. And I still felt broke every single month. It took me years to realize why. I wasn't poor, I was just playing a completely different game than the people actually building wealth. Once I understood that game, everything changed. So today I'm going to show you exactly why the middle class stays stuck and the 3-part system the wealthy use to compound their way out. Now most people think the answer is just invest in stocks or just start a side hustle. And sure, those help, but that's not actually the problem. Buying one index fund with your leftover $200 a month isn't going to outcompound someone whose entire financial structure is built around growth. That's a tool, not a strategy. If you strip away all the noise, there are really only 3 things separating the middle class from the wealthy. The first is income type. The middle class earns linear income. You trade hours for dollars, and when you stop working, the money stops. I used to freelance as a designer, billing hourly. I remember hitting a ceiling where I was working 60-hour weeks and my income barely moved, because there are only so many hours in a day. The wealthy build leveraged income instead, money that comes in whether they personally show up or not. It's not overnight. It took me almost 2 years of reinvesting every freelance dollar into a small productized service before it started paying me while I slept. But once it did, my time and my income finally separated from each other. The second is debt direction. The middle class uses debt to buy things that lose value. Cars, credit card balances, furniture on financing. I did this exact thing at 24. Financed a car I couldn't afford because it looked successful. That car cost me more in interest than I made from my first real investment that year. The wealthy flip debt on its head. They borrow to acquire assets that pay them back. Rental property, business equipment, leveraged investments. Same tool, opposite direction. One buries you, one builds you. The third and the biggest one is time horizon. The middle class thinks in months. Can I afford this vacation, this month's bills? The wealthy think in decades. I'll be honest, this one embarrassed me the most. I pulled money out of an investment account at 26 because I panicked during a small dip, and I missed out on almost 4 years of growth I never got back. The rich don't touch their compounding. They let it run uninterrupted for 10, 20, 30 years because they understand something the middle class rarely gets taught. Compounding doesn't reward the smartest investor, it rewards the most patient one. So how do you actually flip these 3 things in your own life? This is the compounding pyramid. 3 levels that, stacked together, turn a normal income into real wealth. Miss one, and you'll stay stuck no matter how much you earn. Level 1 is automation. You cannot out-willpower a system. The wealthiest people I know don't manually move money into investments every month hoping they remember. They automate it before they ever see the cash. Level 2 is protection. Compounding only works if it's never interrupted, which means you need a buffer so you're never forced to pull from investments during an emergency. Level 3 is tracking, knowing exactly where every dollar sits, what it's earning, and what it's costing you, because you cannot direct debt or income you're not actually watching. Honestly, Level 3 is where almost everyone falls apart. They've got investments in one app, debts in another, subscriptions they forgot about, and no single place pulling it together. This is exactly why I started using a proper CRM-style system to track my own money moves and client work in one place, instead of 5 scattered tabs. Because staying organized isn't glamorous, but it's the actual difference between people who compound wealth and people who quietly leak it every month without noticing. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to say out loud, the system isn't rigged against you because of some conspiracy. It's rigged against you because nobody ever taught you these 3 shifts. Linear income, debt direction, time horizon. That's it. That's the entire gap between staying stuck and compounding out of it. I don't care how much you earn this year. None of it matters if it's not moving in one of these 3 directions. The middle class isn't broke because they don't work hard enough. They're broke because they're optimizing a system that was never designed to compound. Flip those 3 switches, and you're not middle class anymore. You're just early.